Nancy Matz Friday, and today's topic is recouping, regrouping, and reflecting. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Happy Friday, everybody. How's everybody doing? I think I heard you all say, great. I'm doing okay. It's been an interesting day. I haven't had a nap today. Just to give you guys, just to give you all a heads up, no nap for me today. What do I call them? Geezer naps. Because I remember when my mom and dad, growing up with my mom and dad, because they were older when they had me. So by the time I was like 10 or, 8, 9, 10, 11, things like that, my mom and dad were taking naps like every afternoon, and so as I got older, I used to think of them as geezer naps, right? So now here I am, I have to have a geezer nap every afternoon, but not this afternoon. Went to the heart specialist today, got scanned up, and don't have to go back for a year. So it turned out really good, turned out really well. I've been the same level with my heart for the last 3 years, no changes. So that's pretty cool, pretty cool. By the way, my name is Charlotte. I keep forgetting to introduce myself, and today is Casual Friday. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of lovely Sacramento, California. It's lovely now. I wish it would stay this temperature all the time. We are 45 strong up and down this wonderful state, and if you think you have a paranormal need, we can get to you and help you out. It just may take us a while to get to you, but we will get to you. California is huge. People don't realize how big we are. So check us out. We also have branches in Nevada, Oregon, and Washington State, and Hawaii. Now, if you guys can sit in Hawaii, if you want to pay my airfare, I'll go investigate there. Okay. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Just a quick reminder, at 7:15 p.m. Pacific tonight, I will be on TikTok doing past, present, future 3-card readings. If anybody would like to know what's going on with your future, that's the time to do it. But in the meantime, lots of announcements to make. I have started an account over Substack, and I put my first blog is over there. And I'll be adding more blogs over the weekend. I think you guys will get a kick out of them. Some are funny, some are about ghost hunting and psychic abilities and things like that. And we're probably going to at some point set up a subscription over there for some of the stuff, right? We can also have the ability to go live over there, so we could have private, screenings of shows and stuff, different topics if we want. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome. So I'm really excited about Substack. So you're going to see a lot of improvement. I did post a bunch of shows over to the RSS feed for you guys that are listening on iHeartRadio and Apple and all those places. I'm going to be getting that caught up this weekend. That'll all be posted. I will be having a website for my psychic readings. I will be having a website for you guys. So that way, if you guys want to check me out. If you guys want to check me out for readings, you can do that and come on over and sign up for readings over there as well. So I'll have that up this weekend. My store will be updated. I've got a really cool California Haunts Radio t-shirt that I want to put out there. I have a couple different hat designs and some stuff that's more tarot-oriented as far as shirts and stuff go. So I'm really excited. It's a matter of just sitting down doing it. And now that I don't have to wear glasses all the time, I'll be more free and more relaxed. You can tell I'm more relaxed on the radio doing this stuff too, because I just don't like to wear my glasses. They just don't do me any favors. So hopefully it lasts a little longer this time. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? I'm really excited because a lot of people from TikTok have come over here and joined me over here on YouTube. And if you guys could do me a favor, anybody that's listening that's outside of TikTok that hasn't subscribed yet, I am 7 away from 1,000 subscribers here. And if you're listening on Facebook, I'm 7 away from 1,000 subscribers over here on YouTube. If you could kindly go over and subscribe, that would be great to get me to that 1,000 mark. That would be huge. It's taken me 6 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. It's not like they say, start doing stuff, then all of a sudden you're going to have lots of subscribers. It doesn't work that way. A lot of hard work. So come on over and subscribe, and we're going to have a lot of stuff going on here as well. So, I'm excited about it. My guest tonight. Right? It's Casual Friday. I've got my Aloha Haunted Mansion shirt on tonight. My guest tonight, Nancy Matz, and I go back a long way. In fact, I would say I was in my 20s when I met her the first time. And so we go back a long way. I'm not going to say how old I am now. Okay? That'll tell you that I'm an old fart, but I'm not going to go there. But Nancy Matz, I've known her for a long time. She is like a second mother to me. It's nice. She listens to me. Since my mother's been gone, that's my sounding board sometimes, and I feel bad about that. But hey, Daniel. But sometimes you just gotta. Okay. You do see a ticker running along the line. We do operate on donations. The California Haunts team does. It's to help with equipment and stuff. So if you can find it in your heart to do so, that would be great. If not, I'm good. I'm good with that too. I'm good with that too. All right. Well, let me bring Nancy in, and we'll get the show on the road, and we'll talk about some stuff. My health is like I said, my health is really good. I got a clean bill of health from the cardiologist, and I don't have to go back for a year. So things are running smoothly there. My heart is pumping as if it was a healthy heart, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. And that took a good year and a half to get there after I was diagnosed 14 years ago. So I'm real excited about that. I'm really excited about that. So we'll just keep trudging along like we are. And like I said, I'm glad to have I'm glad to have the dorky glasses off. And let's get this show on the road. Let's have some fun tonight. Let's do this. Let's bring me and Nancy Matz on. I know you've been waiting, so let's do it.
And of course, I have serious topics tonight, but they're all educational. Everybody knows that I'll pick a topic, and you think you know what I'm going to talk about. It never is that way. So tonight is regroup, reformat, and put yourself together differently. I forgot exactly what the title of the show is tonight.
See,
Charm, tell
as
me.
you think you know what I'm going to talk about. I go on to do psychic readings tonight, and it's like you think you know what a psychic doing readings looks like till you see my show. I'm like nothing you're going to see online. you
And
know?
she did mention we met in '97,
Yeah,
I think it
long
was,
time
and
ago.
she was I got
I was in college.
I, I call her a punk. She come in with an attitude. This
We did.
woman, she's not real. No one's real here. And then I started describing. So most of you are new to me. Um, I lived in Public Pines and drove down to the largest cemetery at the time, Northern California, where John Sutter, who explored gold country and found gold and started the whole gold rush to California. And he's buried at the cemetery at 10th and H Street, and it's the Sacramento
Hmm.
Cemetery. I forgot the total name of it, but anyway, it- too many 10,000 just in the old section. So John Betancourt, who was a curator of the cemetery at the tour at the time, created these tours to replace the vandalism of the stones. And I have so many. You should do a story show just on the stories.
Well,
Um,
I'm halfway thinking with
Amazing.
spring coming because it's a Victorian cemetery, so it's beautiful in the spring, of taking my TikTok fans with me to that cemetery, and you guys can see who's buried there. Because
Oh
you
yeah.
will be amazed when you see the people that are buried there. And I can tell you some of the stories Nancy told. They're so
Hmm.
good that when I went in there at night one time and walked around by myself, I scared myself. That's how good the stories were of the ghosts that are in there.
Well, let me just share one of them. There is what they call the fireman's
Yes.
plot, and it has what they call the little archway that most people have in their backyards. It's
Mm-hmm.
lattice work. And at the time, I had a friend that accompanied me quite a bit. She didn't want to admit to it, but she was so close to 6 foot that I called her 6 foot tall, and I felt
Mm-hmm.
like mutton Jeff with her. And Karen was a lovely, lovely, unassuming, just a very lovely lady. And life gets in the way. I moved out of state, and it's just too hard to keep relationships going. Came back, and I think she's in Southern California. She came down there, and I had the private week. So they were, I did 4 months, uh, 2 and 3 tours a month, from 150 in July, which is hotter than it should be for a tour, but and all the way until end of October. And I would go the week before, and John and I would walk through, and he would just say, "Tell me stories." So I would look for the tones that a spirit would stand there, or someone would be mute, uh, groaning or moaning. And I'm very perceptive, and there were so many stories that he went, "Wow, let's keep going." And I made thousands and thousands of dollars for this cemetery. Anyway, one of the ones that really got everybody's attention was what we call the firemen's section. And these are firemen who dedicated their lives to it and those who had died. And when we went there week before, a young man, he was 6 foot something, 2 or 3, and he was a tall, lanky man, very young looking. I remember thinking he was 33, 34 years old. And he was walking around wanting to get our attention. And somehow anyway, and he told me that he had got his head locked off. And he showed me a wagon where they put water on the wagon and the horses in the front, 2 horses in the front. Well, if anybody has traveled down in the Sacramento area, there's a lot of trestles, and it used to be just one wagon wide, and they were built in the 1900s. And this young man died later, 30s, 40s, 50s. I can't remember, Sharp, you can remember. And he
Mm-hmm.
showed me how he had these 2 horses in front with this wagon. It looked like the early 1910s, 20s. I'm not sure. You'd have to look it up. And he stood up just as he was going on a trestle, and off came his head. And he wanted to know where his wife and child was. He was very lonely. And I thought to myself, what is this guy still here for? And John looked at me. He says, I've never heard that story. You're just like, blah, 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 blah. Well, come to find out, there had been a terrible accident. This young man, 33 years old, got real excited going one of his first trips out on the fire. He stood up as he went on a trestle, and guess what? What? His head came right off, and he was buried there. And of all things for me to see was
Mm-hmm.
his death, and it was quite startling to me. So if you walk into the cemetery to the left, and that's the one off of 8th Street, and to the left, right there at the Canada Court is his latticework archway, and he's buried at the far side. Well, I don't know why his wife isn't there or why he's still there, but he really was excited to think that I could see him and hear his story. He wanted to share his story. Well, my friend Karen said, I want to shake his hand. And she walked right up. Of course, she's tall as he, almost as tall as he was. And she puts her arm out. And he leaned down from that archway and he went, Oh, wonderful. And he grabbed her, her other one right up, was hanging out on the, and she says, He has hold of me. And everybody went, Ooh. And it was a talk of the town for weeks and weeks. She said, This woman just went crazy. Why doesn't she, never thinking that a ghost could grab your arm? And he grabbed it with both hands and was shaking and jumped in. Of course, I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I said, Me either. Never. And he was so excited that he got recognized. And sometimes that's all it takes because they get so lonely.
Yeah.
And I told him, I says, Oh, is your wife, does she like to wear a chocolate brown dress? And it comes all the way down to the ground. And I said, Did you have a son? And he said, Yes. And he says, Well, I said, A woman behind you, she's waiting for you to see her. And so he turned around and there she was. Of course, the son had grown up, but she wanted me to say, Did you have a son? And then the other thing that the fireman, I told John Bencorn, I says, Oh my God, there's a bunch of children here. Oh, Nancy, you're just right. Well, there had been an event in town, and 10 children had gotten killed. And unbeknownst to him, on one side, if you go, you can up to 10 children, maybe an 8. There was a small headstones, and they're all little children, and they didn't have any money to bury these kids. I can't remember the event. I don't know if it was typhoid or was it a terrible fire, but they did bury these children in the firemen's. And John had never heard these two stories, and I says, I can only and I'm very at a place now, and I hope a reader will hear this. You are the vehicle I cannot own because my father had this gift, his mother has it. Uh, just and so I see these stories and I hear these stories and I talk to the spirit people, and it's like a humble experience. You can never wound another soul, but you also can never ignore another soul if someone approaches you. So all these 4 or 5 years of 97 to 2001, and unfortunately he did pass away, but he was there believing that there was survival through all my
Mm-hmm.
efforts. And Shara later will talk about all the pictures she took and all the experiences she had while she was with this group that I was with.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's
Mm-hmm.
very humbling to get those kinds of questions. those kinds of statements from these wonderful people. That
Hmm.
alone is a whole show. I mean,
When you talk
we
about the
should do it.
history, and this made me laugh because it reminded me, we had to spend a day with a professional when I was working up in the Placerville paper. And so, of course, me being me, I said, well, how about a mortician? I'll go up
Mm.
to one of the mortuaries and spend some time with the mortuary, with
Ooh, we're going to
with the
sound here.
staff,
Go ahead.
and see how they work the embalming machines and all that.
Hmm.
And so I go, and morticians have a funny sense of humor. So do coroners for that much because they're around death all the time. And they had a couple bodies in the main chapel that they were moving around. And she says, "Well, I'm going to take you in here, but I'm going to warn you that I've got like three bodies in here. Is that going to bother you? So don't, if it's going to bother you, let me know." And I looked at her and I smiled and I said, "No, not really, because I get them 200 years after you do." And she kind of stood there for
I
a second and
love
looked at me, and then she busted up because she caught on. "Oh, that's right, you're a ghost hunter. That's funny." But that's what I told her. I was dead serious, and I said, "Get them 200 years after you do." So,
I get
you know,
about 100, 150 years because some of the investigations are
yeah,
way in the
yeah,
1800s
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
late 1800s.
yeah,
But um,
yeah.
I have three cases I do need to talk about tonight. It's pretty serious
Okay,
stuff.
let's do it.
Um,
Go.
so, for those who are just coming in, I want to give a plug to a young lady that's joined me in my endeavor to become better. And I had an old website and I invited her to help me move it from Homestead to GoDaddy. And I got into it, and so many links and so many things were wrong. I guess updates and all this stuff, and I had it perfect at one time. And someone said, "Well, you have to get on every month." I says, I've moved 3 times in 4 years, and it was for helping my husband and a couple other things. So I finally caught up, and I had to put her aside. But she's going to help me on so many things, from mailings to uh, writing. I've got some books I'm going to have her help me edit, just all kinds of things. And this young lady, um, it's all relative, everybody. I'm 76, so everybody relative to how old people are. Melanie Light, Light, wonderful. I love her energy. We connected. And it's funny because about 10, 15 years ago, she'd have to correct me. I don't know how many years it's been. I felt that connection. This is the light worker. And her website, remember I asked her today, what can I say about her? dreamlifedesign.wordpress.com. And she wrote me a couple things that I went on her website. She says, "Do you feel like you're in a rut or confused about your life?" She's a visionary coach, a stylist, an interior decorator. She had a busy life. I love her. And she does have a book out, so you can put her on Amazon. Look it up. Affordable style honing, home decorating, writing and awareness coaching, and dream life designing sessions. If you can get to her website, you'll love her. We're all so different, but we're similar. This is the path I took after being engineering supervisor. I have a very technical, analytical mind, and here's this creative soul that I think if you need help in a lot of different ways, check her website out. Dream Life designing.wordpress.com. All right, Melanie. And I hope to have a lot of years of help from her. But this changing websites, I had no idea it was going to be so difficult and catching up. So Nancy Matz still works, pay for things. I got too much to move at one time. Nancy Matz author is where I have a lot of my books listed, but I have got so many already lined out. It's a matter of finding the life to do it. So tonight I had Shar. What was the name of our show tonight? Do you have it
We
there?
have recouping, regrouping, and reflecting.
This is a tough topic, and I sat down to type it up a couple of days ago, and then I had a client call, and it seemed to me my eyes are in the wrong place. Everybody, I'm trying to figure out how to straighten it out here. Uh, Life's hard, and then it gets tough. And these three cases made me realize I need to talk about recouping, regrouping, and then reflecting on your power and your boundaries and your and what you can do in a situation. It's the same thing as power, but I want to mention some
Mhm.
things. I'm going to talk about these people in the recent readings, but everybody knows I'm not going to tell their name, and I will change it a little bit. So, uh, Miss M called me up, and she is in a place where, because of a flood and a couple things happening, she's going to relocate. And she talked about a relative living with her that has not necessarily taken advantage of her, but taken advantage of her goodwill. And the sister is younger, and then she added, "I can't stand her politics." Mm. I went, "Oh my gosh!" In the light of today's environment, and we talked about it. And then she said, "When she sells the house, I'm going to divorce her." And I thought, "Wow, that's a terrific statement." And she's got other family members living with her, and everybody knows there's some groups of people that are very giving, loving, and they'll do everything for the family to the limit of what they're capable of doing to the point of his breakdown. And she had hit this. And the obvious to that was she's divorcing her seven brothers and sisters, all of them. And she's the only one that doesn't think like the rest of them. And every time she connects with them, they force upon her their ideology. And that's okay, but she doesn't want to be changed. And I can't do the politic thing with my clients. I have to listen and I have to evaluate the harm that has been done to her. I care about is that you don't go to bed at night wishing your life were different. I don't want you in torment. You have to get to where your boundaries are okay. You have to get to the place, and I love this because it wasn't her, but somebody else that said to me, "How many, how many years do you have left? How many haircuts can you get? Where you're living in an environment that's so conducive to your struggling more?" So at my age, I'm 76. I went to the doctor today and they said, "Oh my God, you're really healthy." Here, I never thought I was going to live past the stage 3.5 cancer that I had in 87. And I'm still alive, Charlene. No one wants us over there. And then I thought to myself, well, that's a shock. I'm going to live more. It's like they're doing everything they can to keep me alive. So here I could have at the most 15 more years. Of the 15 years I have, and how about some of you in the room there? If you're close to my age or Char's age, how many years do you have to live in harmony and live in your truth and create boundaries that you won't have fear in your life? One of the brothers even made a statement to her. "I want to go on the porch. I want to get a rifle. I want to shoot a particular kind of people as they come in his neighborhood." And it was so offensive to her, she hung up. I said, "Okay, all I care about is that your spirit is free and that you're at peace and that you, at your age," and she could retire, but she has to work, and that you can do it, peace of mind. That's all that matters. You have to go there, everybody. And because I can't give you more details, it would shock you of the input that she's been getting from her family trying to talk her into something. And I just can't say more. But what it brought to me was in today's political environment, there's going to be some people who are very pro, very calm. You have to choose your truth, but don't force on somebody else. It's okay. Wherever your truth is, that's exactly where you're supposed to be today. And everybody should be okay with that. And it's like, um, I'm a spiritualist minister, but I was a Catholic before. And at some point, it's okay that that side of the family is still Catholic. But I was there and I left because I thought I was going to die. And my truth to be able to do this, the universe brought me to this. But I also got my ministry. I was so it's it's just such a powerful thing to me that I changed everything in my life. It was because my truth had to be who I was, and nobody else should be able to tell me. So that's case number one. Okay. The second one is a young lady that's touching base with me, and this is a couple that's really young. I can't tell you, but I can tell you that there's a lot of struggles in this family about health, a hereditary problem with the husband, religious implications interfered with some of the medical treatments. It's okay. His life, his choice, his body, his destiny. For the partner to witness this and not have input, I says, whose body is this? Is it yours or his? Why are you mothering him? What makes you think he shouldn't make his own decisions in this life? If he were 14, 15, up to 21, we can give input. At some point, he says he doesn't want to go to the hospital. If he goes unconscious, then you have the power to do that. So we have to determine the rights we have as human beings to live in our own body, the rights of our partner to live in their own body, and the way they want to live it. I'm married for the second time here. When we married, I was 55, he was 63. At that point, we agreed we'd be who we are. I'm not in a partnership to change him. For heaven's sakes, he's not going to change me after my struggle to become me. And I'm very independent. And it was almost like I was allowing him to be who he was for the first time. And he was going to allow me to twirl like a crazy lady because I just love this. And I love helping you. And I love that the information funnels through me so quick. You have to record it. Thank you. You have to record it to be able to hear it over and over. That is a magical thing. And I cannot stop. I promise. Uh, Thank you for my life and my sanity. And if you wish, I'll work for you the rest of my life. The Toyota Corolla that I was driving that day on my birthday, April 30th, 1990, I was doctor saying, I think you're going to be okay. And I left the doctor's office on my birthday and I made a pledge. And when I did, I was driving and the car went vroom, shook. Don't tell me that's not God, the divine, he, she who governs all. And I looked at the road, it was clean, no potholes, no nothing. And I went, oops, someone heard me. That was a Monday. On a Friday, the divine directed me to Sunrise Mall from Auburn, California, had me get in, had me leave, redirected me to Spiritualist Church. First day of the rest of my life, May 4th, 1990. 2 years later, I left a career, 24 years Pacific Bell, as a manager, making as much money as a single woman would ever want, sacrificed everything to do this and help you out there. Holy tomatoes. So I've been doing this for 33 years, everybody. Thanks. So with a partner that's dying, what role do you have? Where are your boundaries first? And most important, what are his or her boundaries that you're with? First off, stop talking all the time. Hold their hand. Listen to them. Record their voice. What is it they want from you? Then you have an answer. As many times as I've helped families with grieving, death, and dying and recovery, I've also been fortunate enough not to hold a hand on someone dying, but to counsel people. So today, when I was talking to her, I started seeing the people that would be there for him on the other side. And the three people I described to you, oh my gosh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Let me think that through there. Okay, so we know we're gone past that point where he's here and then he's undead. Okay, I described the people in spirit that he would have a reunion with. Very important people. What makes you think this is a terrible thing? It's his choice. He came into this world, have it end on the date that he will. I've already seen that date. I confirmed with another person who says, oh, it's the same time frame. Well, then it is a planned event. And I didn't say I like children to pass. I don't want my children to pass. It's not normal for a child to pass. I get that. On my side of the family, I'm the oldest. Hello. Grandma's the oldest. They're waiting for me, I guess. I don't know. They're not going to get anything from me. But at the same time, it's my journey to be where I am for as long as I can be. Allow you to honor your partner's choices, even if it meant for them to die. We have to be respectful for those older people. He's not that old. He's not 50. He's older than that. And that is probably one of the hardest things for people to go through because you marry somebody, like he's older, and you go, I want this part for the rest of my life. And then when you sit and think about it, you go, rest of one of our lives. One of us will leave before the other. And I met him, East West Bookstore. Howell Avenue, Fair Oaks Boulevard. Um, well, we married 22 years, so it's been 23 years ago because he had become a widow. It had been 2 years. So I knew that 2 years is kind of important to me. I say 2 years for people before you surrender your life to another partner. And then
Mhm.
when we got married, I went for the rest of our lives, my life, because I didn't expect I'd live that long. And then, which one of us first? And that's a very difficult thought. Oh, wait a minute, they're gonna leave me. Not leaving you. They're done here. They get to go home. Are you kidding? All the spirit people I see, like the man shaking Karen's hand, whoa, 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 and the audience was going crazy. That's real stuff to me now, everybody. This is not making it up. How am I? If everybody called in, I could tell you who's standing next to you. I've done this so many times. Amazing. So that's case number two, boundaries, respectable. Your boundaries, but your partner's who's dying. The third boundary is a parent who has discord with children. You allow you go to have children. Some people don't have children. Char didn't have children this lifetime. Her journey is totally different. And we've already talked about the equivalent of the challenges she has to achieve a certain level of expertise. That is the journey for this lifetime because of what didn't happen for her in the past life, which we did a past life regression on.
Mhm.
And so sometimes we have to choose a body for a life experience. I have had so many flashes and situations. I had a past life regression from a friend. It was after I started thinking about this a lot, and it was one after another. Of course, being intuitive like this, it just information just goes like a freight train through me. And she says, "Oh my gosh, and we don't have enough time tonight for me to tell you all these stories." So when you YouTube is wonderful. I spend way too much time on it, but I get caught up in the verification of children's reincarnation stories. Please look it up. These children, 2 and 3 and 4 years old, that are telling their life before. And I always tell the story of Gail, who brought 21-year-old son to me. Big strapping blonde hair, blue-eyed kid walks in like this, and she's blonde, of course, and he just a Nordic, and he starts talking about being Mexican in his past life and how his mother now can't cook as good as his old mother. And Gail says,
Mhm.
he still won't call me mom. He calls me Gail. Hello. But he started talking like that at 2. How is it possible that when you read about these children with all this detail of the past life, and Camille, who passed away last year, I called the family because I wanted some information about a disease she had, because I
Mhm.
met somebody with it also. And uh, she had met me in 90 or 91, right at the beginning. And she called me up one night after we started getting into this. Her 3-year-old grandchild came in, she was watching TV. And then those years, that was 30 years ago, she was watching National Geographic. And the little girl said, "Oh, remember when we lived there and you were big and I was small?" She called me up screaming. And I said, "First off, stop screaming and go get back and get more details, then call me back." Evidently, in that year, in the past life, the little girl said, "Oh, a bad man came to our village and hit everybody in the head." So when I talk to people and I say, recently I started this, I said, you have a session. I want everybody that's listening to question yourself and say, why did I pick this life? What is significance of this life? Why am I here? Because you will get answers. Why am I here? Clearly, I've had children, but clearly, this 33 years and hopefully more is the focus of this life. Both of my children are very independent. They don't really need me. And I'm okay with that because it was a struggle for me to be a mom. I was good at it, but it was technical. I just did the best I could, everybody. So I picked this body for this life, for the check-in time and the check-out time to be exactly the day it's meant to be. Ask yourself, okay, now we got to that point. I want to bring up something that's very difficult. This lady has 4 children that I'm going to talk about, and 3 boys and one is a girl. And the girl has given her difficulties. She's an adult, she has children, but she's somebody who has been given better life. So the word entitlement is there, and whatever could go wrong, it's mom's fault, always. Husband divorced her. She divorced him, I can't remember. And so the child sided with the father and never gives him grief, but only her. It's like she is the closest one to the daughter. The daughter takes everything out on the mother. And so when I talked to her, I said, "Who are you?" And she's 79 years old. And I says, "How many more years do you have? And what is your boundaries with this child?" If you haven't heard from her, it's a really good thing. She needs to grow up and be her own person and learn why she chose this life. Because I don't see a very good outcome of this recent divorce that she's going
Mhm.
through now. And so when you have children that are going through tough times, have nothing to do with you, it's all their own creation. What is their role? Do you have boundaries? Do you have respect for yourself? Do you have respect for your children? You cannot interfere. I'm going to be really careful. Yes, we have children. We want to be there for them. Absolutely. And Char's a child to me. I tell Char all the time, Char, because we have a different kind of relationship. But maybe we were connected before, and
Mhm.
she was a child, and she's allowed me to come in her life for whatever time to be there because we all need somebody. And even though I loved her mom and her dad, in some ways she was parentless. She really didn't have parenting. I'm telling a story on you, Char. So in this world of what she's doing, she's picked a body for her life, but she's done it on her own terms, her own way, by herself. You got to give her credit. Hello. So I've said to you, if you have a child that's an adult, look at why you are born, why you're here, why are they here, why did they choose you? I think my children chose us for the biological material. Both of them are exceptionally smart. Yay. Yeah. Exceptionally successful. You know, that's it. It's not part of my world, it's theirs. And I think that's one of the hardest boundaries because we want to take charge and control and keep them safe and make their
Right.
life perfect. That is not your role. If you interfere too much, you will be removed. Yes. And I'm talking being because
Mhm.
what you might have asked for this life may be done. I was told once that my exit in the future sometime uh, will be the day that I no longer have and should have influence over somebody else's life. As though there may be one person coming that I have and should not have, tell them what is coming. It is so important for that one person never to talk to someone like me that may be directed to me, and I need to leave before that. It could be one person, or it could be a group, or it could be, say, Lancy, you can, on my tombstone, I'm going to say, she doesn't have to talk anymore. See what I'm saying? That's the outcome. All right. And that's pretty tough, but I want you to know that at some point it's okay not to have to be in someone's life. And that's the hardest thing for us to get. So I want to recap because we do have time, then I want to go on to something I'm going to be involved with. When you have family members that are trying to control, try to put you down, take advantage of you, what's your role? What's your role? Are you the one they take advantage of? Are you the one that has no backbone? Are you the one that in this life you are develop independence and see yourself as valuable? It's kind of like a bad marriage too, huh? Who are you? And that's why I got divorced. Uh, I felt like I had lost myself in the marriage. It was a difficult police marriage. He was a police person. I couldn't understand what I was getting all the time. Kind of hurt me a lot, the energy of who he was. And when I got cancer, I realized how valuable was my life to me.
Mhm.
Yes, I had one child at home. He was 15. The other child was adult now at the house. But at the same time, when I left, I heard later that the young man learned to assert himself. He grew more powerful being around the ex-husband. So to me, that was meant to happen. I'm a very quiet, peaceful person. So is my son. But he picked a tough career, um, can't aerospace. He grew in power. So when he took the course, he became a different person. That was meant to be. We cannot look at a terrible situation if no one grows from it as a waste of time. Can't be wasted. Growth will happen even if it doesn't show itself for years. Okay. The second one is death. What control do you think you have over a person's life? And I'm talking about a child that's a difficult child or somebody family drugs and alcohol. Everything has a time and a place and an energy to be a creative situation for them, not for you.
Mhm.
I shared earlier that the day that I can leave, everybody says, haven't you paid back 33 years? Haven't you given the divine enough of you? And I said, I promise for the rest of my life. And if I quit, am I saying to the divine, okay, I'm quitting. Send me home. I'm not ready because I have too much to say, too many books to write. It gives me joy and makes me passion. I have a purpose, passion, and path. What is your path in life? What is your purpose, which will create passion? So that's an expression that I made up some years back. And I believe that we all need to find it. And even if you're in the chat room or listening on RSS feed and you say, I'm working every day, it's miserable, I hate my life, I got a family I'm supporting, I'm broke all the time. And I say to people, what else are you doing today? What else are you doing to make your life better? And I know people who run businesses and they work 24/7,
Mhm.
but within the contents of that, they have joy because they're productive, they're making money for the family. They have work. I had a client say to me, I want to quit working so badly. And I said, well, that's fine. What are you going to do when you're done? Nothing. And I said, you'll be surprised. Nothing is not very fun.
Mhm.
Find a passionate path that keeps you alive longer because people think they should just quit. That's not a good enough reason to quit your life. And yet, I'm an advocate for TV nowadays. I don't watch a lot of TV. Shar said, did you watch? I go, no. I do catch up once in a while, but rarely. I watch the news and that's it, first thing in the morning. And it's because I just have my mind somewhere else. That's all. But I'm an advocate. There's so much on TV nowadays that if you have issues and you have to be home, your world could open up to all kinds of wonderful things, just like YouTube. 10,000, how many? Someone said to me one, or read 10,000 videos around the world are uploaded every day. You can't find some in your and learn something. There's I wanted to learn Japanese and sign language, so I have the tapes over there. I want to learn piano. Believe it or not, I've always had interest in piano. I'm an artist. I'm a jeweler. I love to write. I have 8 books lined up with. Do I have enough time for everything? Yeah, let's get busy. What else you doing with your day? I tell people, who are you as a human being?
Mhm.
And people, blah, 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 blah. People, women talk to me a lot about dating. I said, what are you offering? Oh, I'm a nice looking lady and I can cook and I'm good in bed. I said, well, that could lead. Who else are you going to offer him? And people don't know. And I've done the same with men. Homework tonight, everybody. Homework is write down who you are as an individual human being. Then, when you're done with the list, write down the things you wish you could do. Write down the list of the things you regret you haven't done. Then tell me who you are. And if you're single, who wants someone in their life that doesn't increase and make you a better person?
Mhm.
You marry somebody that can make you a better person, then you find it, or allows you to be who you are because you struggle so hard to get there. My husband will allow me to do anything I want. What a gift. What a gift. Are you kidding me? How many husbands out there or spouses don't put restrictions on? What are you doing tonight? Wait a minute, I'm important. You got to feed me first or clean the house. Oh, excuse me. And yes, I have told him, by the way, something's wrong over here. He says, I'll call a repair person. I'm not making that happen. What do we put on our spouses? Your homework is important, everybody. You have to decide who you are and what is damaging you. You have to decide how many years are left of your life, what boundaries you have, what
Mhm.
parameters, who are you, and then talk to me about being unhappy. I do a meditation. I've done a lot of them. Shirley MacLaine out on a limb when she's sitting in Peru in a spa. And she leans back and her arms are out. I love this book. It was made a movie and it was illustrated. It would demonstrate very wonderful. It's a stone spa and she's on a mountain or somewhere open sky. And she leans back and all of a sudden she goes out of her body. If I can, I've always said I wish we could color this, our spirit, our energy, because every time I talk to somebody a zillion miles away, I would love to see how fast it goes and what happens. So I often just, whoops, there I did it. It just flipped out of my body. So I do a meditation and I say, you're relaxing and and now lift yourself up to the ceiling. Then we go into hemisphere, then we go up, and all of a sudden you're out by Pluto. And I said, would you look back and look at the Earth? What does it look like? Or just see it. And then I'll say to that person, and I've got really fun. And then I'll say to him, see how little it is? Now tell me, how big is your problem? It's not very big. The thing that's big is the whole universe. And people say to me, how is it possible that this skinny, tiny little planet, so tiny compared to the sun, has all this activity of spirit kind around it? I says, listen, I would like to have some answers too. I cannot help seeing all these spirit people around. What
Mhm.
distresses me is seeing dead people who have had damage to their body to die, to be undead. I can't help people if I can't hear the name clear. And how many
Right.
people have said to me their last name? I go, I forget. I'd be in politics doing shows on TV if I could remember names. I can remember telling what they look like. I can't remember
Right.
names because it gets too much information for the flow. And then you have to go to a place and realize how big the cosmos are and how many planets are out there. I had this one man, young kid, he got killed at 17 by a drug junkie. Terrible. Mother comes to me and she says, would you tell him to come, Jason? Because she said I could tell the story. Tell Jason to come here. I've been missing him. He's not answering the phone call. And he said, and I go, and where are you? And he was being Superman posed going through the cosmos. And he had one arm like Superman and the other one next to his chest. He's going, da da da. And from the waist down, it looked like from a rocket shooting out. He created in the spirit world boundaries. Tell my mother to leave me alone. I'll come back when I'm done. He says, I'm going to go there. And he showed me the cosmos in all the beautiful colors. Before it was on Hubble, by the way. This was 90, October 92, he was killed. So I would say this was after Christmas time. And he
Mhm.
felt like he'd been here long enough. Even a spirit person creates their own boundaries. Tell my mother. And she sits there with her eyes open. I go, oh no, I gotta say what? Where is Jason? And I never forget that look on her face. She said, and I said, he wants you to leave him alone. Okay. Oh my God, that was funny. I'm so sorry. Susie, if you hear this, I'm respectful, but I'll never forget the look on your face. Well, I've had fun tonight. It's 20 after. If you're interested in sessions with me, go to my website, nancymatz.com. Author, Nancy Matz author, to read up more about me. Subscribe is Nancy Metz Psychic at YouTube. And I've had a lot of fun talking about this. And I hope you learn something from everybody. Life's hard and then it gets difficult. We have to have boundaries. And I'll be starting YouTube probably within 2 weeks. I'm going to start doing some reading. I have a partner. There's family crisis going on over there. And so what I will do is testimonials, articles I've written, like Shar, I got 30 or 40, 50 of them around here. So I want to just get going on it and test my waters. I have 150 videos, Char's shows, and others at my YouTube channel. But I want to get on the air too. So Char's having way too much fun. I want to do it too. There you are. I love this, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Well, when
Char?
Nancy talks about bad links, we just found out that Blog Talk Radio is no longer there anymore. And I've got, well, I used to
And
have
Blogspot.
around 300 or 400 shows over there
Yes.
because that's where I started out. The first 15 years doing the show, I was on Blog Talk Radio. So all those are gone. It's sad. All those
I
shows
did
are gone.
write them, Char, and they said that I'll send the link to the email they sent back. RSS feed, you can access that. I don't know, because I go back to '07, '08, '09 for my
Yeah,
shows. I have at least 100.
yeah. There's
But what
tons
do
of
you do
shows
with
over
them?
there. Yeah,
Hmm.
so hopefully I can retrieve some of that stuff. But it's kind of sad because there were some really good guests and stuff on there as well. Because I spent a lot of time on Blog Talk. I also was at Talk Shoe as well for a while.
Hmm.
Because Blog Talk got to the point where there were so many people over there that they couldn't handle it anymore. So I
Yeah.
switched over to Talk Shoe for a while. That's where I met Travis Walton. But it is sad to see these places go. It really is. The other one that was really fun was Live 365. That was another one that was fun. I
Which
love
one?
Live 365. It
I
wasn't
can't
primarily
remember.
for what we were doing. It was more of a music thing, kind of like what Amazon
Oh,
does.
oh,
But people had
I,
to pay for it. But it was fun because,
oh.
like, for my mom and dad, like the Christmas songs, that they had this whole thing called Ralphie's Radio. So it was all stuff from that era. So my dad really enjoyed that. But that once Blog Talk came out, that kind of went away. Once Amazon came out, that kind of went away. Napster, that went away. So I mean, all this stuff, came out. It's just progress. It's just progress. But it is sad,
Yeah.
all those links to Blog Talk Radio, because I had turned around on my original website that we had for California Haunts, and I had made links to every one of those shows on Blog Talk.
Well, I had a lot of my website, as I was saying earlier, nancymatzpsychic. I've had to remove a lot of things because I made reference to those. Most of you were in '07 when I think it was '07, I started Psychic Sisters Talk, but I also had Nancy Matz on there.
Yeah,
So my sister and I did a lot of shows together, and I did singly. Then I met up with Char of California Haunts, and then Port Orange Paranormal with George Lopez.
yeah,
I did quite a few shows for him. So a couple hundred shows I was on, at
yeah,
least, at least. So same with Char now. I've been on for a year and a half, and I think I have 120 shows with you or something
yeah,
here.
yeah.
We've
And
done a
getting back to
lot.
the cemetery tours that Nancy used to do, the
Uh-huh.
hilarious thing, she was right. I was real cocky going in.
I didn't mind it at all. It was
And
fun proving you.
the first time we met, the first time I went out as a reporter and I had a photographer with me from the college paper. I remember I had met with Dennis Hawk.
Oh, yeah,
Dennis
yeah,
Hawk is
yeah.
a very used to be a very prominent paranormal investigator here out of Sacramento. And so I met him at his home, talked to him, and he had told me I think it was 103 people had been abducted by aliens or something in Sacramento. And I was kind of leaning for the ghost thing. I was cool because growing up here, and all everything that happened here. But aliens, I was still kind of on the fence about. And I remember signing up because we had to sign a little paper thing for your tour.
Mhm.
Walk up, photographers with me, and I looked down at the number of sign up, the people ahead of us, and it was 103.
That must have been a July show,
Yeah, and
tour.
I looked at her, and I said, and they've all been abducted by aliens. And we laughed so hard. But Nancy, to get to know Nancy, Nancy, if you don't know Nancy, then you might think she's a little off. Okay, the first time, like especially at the cemetery when she's talking about after the tour, she's talking about the ghosts around her, and that
Yeah.
was the question: is are they around you all the time? And Nancy's got the hands waving, and it's what she does. Her hands are always in motion, and then she goes, "Oop, there's one there." And
Yes.
I looked at my
I
photographer and I
used to
went,
yell at them, stand still, and everybody go, and I'm
"Yeah,
talking to wait.
yeah, and then of course the photographer and I'm looking at the photographer like, wow, okay,
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
The other thing that I thought was great too was when it was cold, the October tours,
Okay,
and
yeah. That's when they got
ghosts
up at
tend,
12:50.
ghosts tend to have cold spots, and Nancy would say, and okay guys, you know, compared to you guys back east, this is like summer weather here, but I mean we're talking like anywhere from 25 degrees on up. This is what we get for cold weather. So I mean, this
Hmm.
is like a 30-degree night, 32-degree night. We're out there all bundled up, and there's Nancy out there going, "You can feel the cold spot right here. Feel this cold spot." And I'm thinking, "What cold spot? It's like freezing out here." And so
Absolutely.
yeah, we walk over there and I
It,
say, okay, it is colder here. But I mean, it's like when you're standing out there and you're trying to go in objectively, for a story
mhm.
like that, and somebody says it's 30 degrees outside. There's a cold spot right here. Can't you feel that?
Was a high electrical charge.
Yeah,
So for
yeah,
the audience, because we have a few minutes left, I
yeah,
used to do the tour. I did the tours for 6 years, 2 a month, 3 a month. I don't remember. It was a lot. And of course, I would go ahead of time. And on the hottest day of the summer, 115 degrees, I was at the John Betancourt. Terrible hard to
yeah,
be tuned in when you're sweaty like this. But anyway, make a long story short, it's easier for people like us when it's cooler. So I would see these
yeah,
people of different eras in their different clothing designs walking around because the spirit people would see us as a group of energy and they go, oh, hey, there's something going on over there. So we'd have
yeah,
people come in from all the city. And so I would say to the crowd, who wants a spirit, who wants to experience touching a spirit? And of course, they would all raise their hand. And I'd just arbitrarily just go until I felt like I needed to pick somebody. And the spirit could be standing next to a stone or near a tree or in the
right,
walkway, wherever I would find somebody that would be receptive. And so I have a testimony, I'll read it. It was a woman who wrote me and said, that night you didn't know, but my friend was dying of pancreatic cancer. And I told her that I had been on your tours and you would pick somebody to feel it. And I picked this woman who was dying. And I told her to raise her hand. And I said, feel the air. And I'd slap it and get that tingly. Feel the air. And I would grab it by their arm and I would direct it into the middle of somebody standing there. Usually I like spirit men who are bigger. You get a woman that's like size zero in the turn of the century. So a man that's larger, and I can't have my outfit. I yelled at this man. I said, stand still. And everyone went like this. And that's the night that I picked her. And he was standing not near a tree, just
mhm,
standing right there. And I says, feel this. And I put her hand right in the middle of him. Just like her eyes went, oh my God, the air, feel the air. Now feel
mhm,
this. And it wasn't my hand. All I did is hold on to the forearm. And
mhm,
in that essence of who they are is electrical charge.
mhm,
Energy is energy. And I must have done it 50 times to people in those 5 to 6 years.
yeah,
And it was like a shock. Like,
mhm,
and I'll never forget, I was doing this tour and this man, the crew tour was following me. And I would think to myself, oh, we're going to be entertained. I went, oh, wait a minute. I want to have to entertain. I want to be entertained. And this man comes walking up, and there's a dog circling. And I looked at him. I said, "Did you just lose a dog? There's a dog on little wire-looking things. I don't know if you were there that night, Eddie." And everybody started crying because he just lost his dog, and the dog was at the tour with him, but running around trying to get his attention. And the dog had just passed away, and I was looking right at him.
mhm, mhm,
I do what I do because this is what I do. If you put your ego in the way,
right,
you're lost
mhm,
because it cannot happen. I
mhm,
don't want it to be taken away. It has to be with genuine and with amusement and amazement. Because
mhm,
when you have that attitude, it flows faster and easier through
yeah,
you. And I'm an innocent with this. And it's
yeah,
like, how many times all these fairs I've done, I've a group of ladies who are also police peoples in Tucson, Arizona. They collect together. And this woman comes in with a dog that looks like a bear, a big animal. I don't know what kind of like I forgot what kind it was, but it was a big hairy thing. And I looked at her and went, holy smoke, look at that great big dog next to you. And all the people there had come hoping I would see her dead dog. And I did. I was just stunned. I went, oh my gosh, look at this great big dog. And she starts crying. And I went, oh shoot. Oh shoot. But that's what necessary. And if it's meant to be, it will be for that person. And
mhm,
I have an expression, what will be will always be.
mhm,
And what cannot be can never be. If I was meant to see that dog, I was going to see it. If it's
mhm,
not meant to happen, it wouldn't be there.
mhm. Well, when you talk about that electricity, when I feel spirit kind, if I'm on an investigation. I can tell if it's a man or a woman
hmm
because I get the legs because my legs will tingle. And
For which one?
the heavier the
Oh.
tingle, it's a male. It's always been
hmm
that way for as long as I can remember. And there's that whole running joke about ghost hunters going out and they don't have to take karate lessons
What's that
because
mean?
when they walk into a room, if you see a ghost hunter doing this, you know,
I don't know what that means.
those
What?
are what they call the spider webs that they will walk through of
Oh,
spirit energy. And so that's the whole joke about suddenly they become karate experts when they're out in the field because they're
I have
trying to
seen that.
wipe these things
Yeah.
away. But yeah,
Walk right
so
into
yeah,
essence of
walk right into
the,
that. Yeah, they'll walk
it
right through
feels
the
like a
stuff.
spider web.
Yeah, yeah, feels like spider webs. Okay, guys. Well, I will be
We had
back.
fun tonight.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I will be back with you guys in about 45 minutes to do some past, present, future reads over on TikTok. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's talk about next week. So we have our book reading on Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, Ghosts of St. Andrews. We'll probably be finishing that off very soon, and then we'll be
hmm
moving on to something else. But Monday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, we have Sarah Chena. Sarah Chena, if you're into natural stuff for what ails you,
Oh,
non-chemical stuff, she is the person to talk to. And
an
so she's going to
herbalist?
be she's going to be coming on
hmm
with us on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific to talk about different herbs you can use to help with
Naturopathic?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
hmm
for stuff like that. So she's going to be coming on and joining us on Monday. And again, I'll be here at 5 p.m. Pacific for St. Andrew's Ghosts. And that's been an interesting book. And to give you guys sort of like a heads up on that one of the stories includes a screaming skull that flies down a hallway. You can
I would
laugh what
love
you
to
want.
see that one. Where is it? I
So
was straighten
this
that spirit up.
this
Come
is
on now.
linked. This is linked, okay, to something similar here in Sacramento.
Pamela, thank you. And Kathy
The
and
new
Jennifer.
governor's mansion was built, and I can't remember the dates. So I'll have to get the dates for Sunday. They built a new governor's mansion out by the American River.
Mm.
And I can't remember if it was for Governor Brown. I don't think it was for Reagan. I think it was for Brown. Nobody ever lived in this thing, and I don't know if there's people living in it now
Mm.
because they built all that area was was Native American burial ground out there,
Oh, no,
and they
no.
built this thing. They built this thing, and so there's a lot of reports of ghosts in this building, and one of the reports is a screaming skull that flies down the hallway at night.
Oh, I would love to do that one. So,
So yeah, so like I said, this thing that St. Andrews is reporting is similar, and that happened 1800s, right? We're talking early 1900s to what
hmm
goes on here, and the reports are so numerous. So I don't know if there's anybody living in there. I know there's a security guard that stays there.
hmm
They even have it blocked off still, like it is the governor's mansion. They have like a guard post thing at each end of it for the driveway. You know, but I don't know if anybody's ever lived there. Now I know that Governor Newsom did not live there. In fact, when he first became governor, he ended up living in the original governor's mansion off of 16th. They lived there,
hmm
and then he moved to a house like I think towards El Grove. So he never lived in there. So I mean, this is the thing. Now, either somebody's living in there, or they've just decided that it's just not worth putting somebody in there because they're not going to stay there. You know, with
Oh,
what's going on. And I know about the Native American stuff because my brother-in-law, who grew up, in the 70s, used to tell me stories, or early 60s too, late 60s, of him and his brothers because they used to go up and down that river looking for arrowheads. But they would find necklaces and everything, when they were out in
Indian.
that area. So, I mean, yeah. So, anyway, so that's going to be part of it. We're going to be reading about the Screaming Skull this week on Sunday. So I just wanted to add that in. I'll try and get some more details on that place over the next couple of days for you guys so you have it when I read the book. But I just think it's interesting because of that. And I think it's an interesting link to what goes on here, you know? So it's going to be busy. We are going to be expanding on Sundays now. Last Sunday I was able to read to Facebook I was reading to YouTube. I was reading to Rumble. I was reading to TikTok, and I was reading to Clapper at the same time last Sunday.
No, right.
So we've been able to expand. I got my two cell phones on either side here. I'm going for it. So we are going to be working. We're going to keep working towards that too because we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok. There's rumors that he's going to extend it. That deadline. There's also rumors that he's going to not deal with it. So, in the meantime, in the next, with March coming around, we are going to be working again on off of two phones to build up Clapper and build up Favorited. Those other sites, so that we can have a build up on those two sites. So, I mean, there's a lot of work ahead of us. But again, like I said, we're going to start taking little trips out too. Ghost hunt training. Murphy's Hotel would like us to come out, so that'll be fun. Do something out with them. That'll be a live thing with you, with everybody, and just keep pushing it. I'm going to start teaching psychic development classes as well. So we're just going to keep pushing. In addition to my readings as well. Guys, I just don't do readings on TikTok. I do private readings. So if you guys want a private reading, contact me. PM me on Facebook. Look for me, find me, and I can arrange for a private reading for you guys. So yeah, we're just doing that. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. So I'll see you guys in about 40 minutes over on TikTok. If you want to come to TikTok, come on over. Don't be afraid. We're a happy bunch. We're a happy bunch. And I'm not a boring psychic. I'm not going to read the cards and go, okay, next, come on. That's just not my gig. Okay? I'm completely different from this show. Completely different when I'm over there. So, yeah. Okay, Nancy, can you tell people where to get a hold of you now, or are you
Oh,
in limbo with your web pages?
nancymatz.com. My name, nancymatz.com, nancymatzauthor.com, and on YouTube, Nancy Matz Psychic. So,
Okay. All right. Okay, guys, I will see you in about 45 minutes or 40 minutes, and we're going to have a good time. Okay?
good night,
California
everybody.
Haunts, California Haunts TikTok, everybody. Thanks for coming. Here we go.
Bye bye.